November 3rd, 2023. This is the S&P 500 E Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart on the NinjaTrader 8 platform. This is what I saw today. It was kind of a push up, and then it just kind of created a big range, although there was kind of a, I guess you could argue for two legs up, and there was two small corrections, I guess. One here and then another correction there. There's only two pieces of economic data, or two times economic data that would come out that might affect the market. The first one was around 5:30, which looked like it caused this big rapid spike up. It was the average hourly earnings as well as the non-farm payroll employment change and unemployment rate, which happened about right here. And then at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard, which is about right here, was the ISM Services PMI. So I'm going to get into the trades today. I took a total of 5 trades, lost 1, and got 4 that were profitable. But as I reviewed my trades after I took them, I'm thinking like 2 of those 4 trades were kind of very risky and not that great. It was probably lucky that they worked out. So I should have skipped them. And in an ideal world, I would have only taken 2 trades, 2 good ones. And the first trade was just a bad trade all around. I'm going to go into the trade right now. So this is a pre-market. It's just kind of chopping sideways. It has this big flash up as soon as the economic data comes out. And it just kind of looks like it falls into this original range or original channel, which I drew with this red one. And on the open, the first setup happens really quickly. It happens right in the first minute. I saw it right here. It's a new high. It's a first entry long pullback and then a second entry long right there. The thing I don't like about this trade is the signal bar, which would be this guy, is bearish. If it had been green, it'd give you a little more reason to take the trade. And on top of that, it would be, if you waited for the trigger bar to close, then maybe you would have taken the entry, but I felt it's a little aggressive and it's kind of pushing towards the high. There's enough room to scalp out, but it's just very early in the day because the entry would have been here at about a minute after the open. So something like that, I needed a more rock solid setup with more room to the top side to take on the first minute. Then prices continue chopping, and I'm working off this red channel right now because I had 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, and I fitted across the top like this. The yellow channel comes into play a little bit later. The second setup I saw was a new high here. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. Now I thought the second entry long was actually a possible trade. The EMA is holding now, and it's bouncing off the midline of this red channel, which I was playing off of. And I thought, it's been holding. It's a good signal bar. And I like that the signal bar had moved 1 tick below this previous one, kind of trapped some shorts that were thinking potentially going short, if it broke below and riding momentum down, trapped and moved right back up. And so definitely I thought it might have been a short trap. Also, you can see from here, it could be a new low, your first entry short, pull back, second entry short, and it could have been a failed second entry short as soon as this one printed. But by the time this one prints and it's confirmed, if you're not in the trade, it would have been a little bit late. And then this is the trade that I actually took, my first trade, and I lost on, which is a kind of a good, well, in a weird way, a good thing that I lost on it because this was no setup whatsoever. So I'm looking for a higher low to try to ride this momentum. And so I saw this as a higher low, which it technically is, but look at the status of this signal bar. It is terrible. This signal bar, it is a higher low because when this one prints, you've got a confirmed higher low, but it's so ugly. It needed to close a little bit more bullish. And I waited for this one to close, and this one doesn't even reinforce this one in any way to take this trade. It just continues to look terrible. Nevertheless, I enter the trade, try to be a little bit clever and reduce my risk by entering at the highs, which is right here. And again, this is a terrible trade. It chops sideways, inside bar, and as well, this one's an inside bar. And of course, it flashes down, takes me out, and for good reason, because this is a bad setup. There was no reason to have taken this trade. So I should have definitely skipped this. Prices then shot up. So it takes me out and then it goes in the direction that I originally thought. But this setup was too early because it's a non-setup. So the entry was too early. Prices start moving up. It starts exceeding the red channel. So I look around, and I'm thinking maybe it's this yellow channel kind of fits. Prices move up, so I do like this one touch, two touch, three touch. The bottom is a little iffy. It doesn't fit as nicely. So it has one leg back, pull back, a second leg back. So I see this, and I really like this setup because EMA is clearly strong. It's clearly a bullish day or trending at the moment. So I decided I like this trade. There's two clear legs down, one leg down, push up, a second leg down, and I was going to enter on this trade. I entered right at the high, not one tick above, but right at the high, because it actually opened, flashed down by one tick, and then it moved back up and it started chopping. So I dropped in my order. I was lucky to get filled and just quick scalp. There is more to go, but I just wanted to kind of get my mind straight with a good trade and not press my luck. So I was able to get this. Prices then continue moving up. So this is a second higher low that I saw. Yes, it is a higher low because this one confirms it. But this higher low, this is a terrible looking signal bar. And as you can see, I entered right when it was close to closing, and then it flashed down and closed below. So as soon as I entered, it was immediate regret because I should have waited for this one to close because I don't know what this next candle is going to do. This turned out to be a higher low, but there's nothing saying that the next candle couldn't have printed lower. And so that could have been the higher low as long as it doesn't break through here. So this was definitely jumping the gun. And like the previous setup here, there was no reason to take this trade yet, but I did. It flashes up, it rewards me for this bad behavior. I'm lucky in that I was able to kind of dodge the bullet there, but I also am very aware of what a foolish trade this was. So this trade number 3 should not have taken place at all because there's no reason for it to take place. Let's then continue moving up. This is a 7 o'clock hour where the ISM Services PMI is being announced. And so it's just really, really choppy right here. It starts breaking through this yellow channel. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe there is this red channel. First, I thought there was this green one. Then I tried to find a second leg here. It wasn't clean. And it looked like it was kind of going down this pinkish red channel, but there was no clean setup. Goes into this consolidation, comes down, bounces up and flashes up. At this point, I don't have the orange channel yet, but I do suspect there's some kind of resistance here because it has 2 touches now, especially when it starts coming down. And it was drawn a little more shallow. I saw a new high here. It's a first entry long, second entry long. And then then when I see this, it's a strong reversal. And I thought, okay, it is a rejection off potentially the top of this trend line. It's not really a channel yet because I don't really trust it as a channel. But this signal bar is just too strong because even though it came up and flashed down, it could run into potentially resistance here. So I think if I wanted to take this entry, I wouldn't have taken it yet on this here. I would have tried to put my entry here depending on what this candle does. When I see this, definitely as it's forming, if I was following the rules and being patient, I probably wouldn't have taken a trade because as it closed up here, you're not thinking going short again. At least you shouldn't be. Then when this one flashes down, now to try to enter this, it just feels late. So where would you put your entry? Would you put it one tick below this guy, which is matching this guy, matching this guy? Or would you put it one tick below here? Or would you put it one tick below here? Because you do have enough room here. I don't know. And since it wasn't that clear, I'm actually pretty happy I didn't take this trade and that it was so ugly, so it didn't trap me. When prices continue moving down, bounces off. So now I draw this as a channel where I have one touch here and two touch, bounces up, flashes back down. It gets really congested here. I see this as it bounces down. I see this potential top of a range, and I drew this at the bottom of the range. So I'm thinking I'm in a range right now. This is very doji-ish. I do see a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. On the life of this candle, it creates a second entry long that's hidden. Also saw a new low here. The first entry short, pullback, second entry short. So technically, you have 2 key entry points here, a second entry long and a failed second entry short. But it was closing really close to where I've just determined that this might be a downtrend. So to go long here, I'm pressing against this potential resistance. So that kind of has a strike against the trade already because it feels like, okay, now it's just being super aggressive for something that might not happen. Turns out it would have worked. hits the top, so I'm trusting that this is actually a range now. I'm weary that this didn't come down and touch, but now it does, and it breaks through, breaks out. And so now I think the orange down channel might kind of been finished, and now it's in this range, deciding whether to continue another leg down or continue a leg up. Hops around, comes back down the green channel, doesn't touch the end of this range, hops around some more. I see a failed second entry short, a new low here. It's a first entry short, second entry short, but I also saw this as one leg up, push up, pull back, push up, pull back. So I saw this first leg up, first entry short, second leg up, second entry short, and then a failure on a bigger visual, because technically you count it very strictly as first entry short, second entry short, third entry short. But visually it just looks like two clean legs up. And so I did see this, but I thought it was a possible trade, but I didn't see it in real time. It's aggressive because the size of these candles are huge. And so what it's showing me is like it's first entry short, second entry short. When you see this, you might think it's going to continue back down because it's pushing off the top of this range. So when this happened, I saw it as a trap. It ticked one tick below, trapped everybody deciding to go short who had the order one tick below, traps everybody, then flashes all the way back up. It engulfs this signal bar. Technically, this is the signal bar, but it engulfs this visual second entry short signal bar and creates a failed second entry short. So in hindsight, I looked at it and I thought, this is actually a pretty tricky but good trade. The reason I don't like it is the risk on this candle is pretty large because you wouldn't really, since you're waiting for this one, you wouldn't really know to put your stop down here. You actually put your stop down here. So it actually be from here all the way up to here. And that's just too big a risk that I did not find pretty good or just felt a little risky. But if you did take the trade, you could be playing off the idea that there's enough momentum because it's a very big candle to at least get a quick scalp. And that's kind of what it happens. It takes a little while, but then it flashes up. Then it continues. And I thought, okay, I saw this is a potential channel going up. And as prices move up, it hits these two consolidation areas, just nothing that I like really. I saw another hidden second entry long here. It's a new high. It's a first entry long, pull back, and on the life of this candle, it creates a second entry long. That's fine, except I don't like, even though it's a second entry long, the way it closed is just too neutral. Even though it bounced off this potential orange, this potential yellow up channel and the EMA, I needed it to be a little bit more firm. I do close a little bit higher, but even then I'd be worried that I might be running into the top of this potential trading range. So it, depending on how you felt, maybe you would have put it one tick above this original signal bar. And it's looks like, you probably would have gotten filled. It's hard to say that you would, and you would have gotten a scalp. But I wasn't too keen on this signal bar. Prices then continue moving up, follows and falls into this yellow channel. So now I'm just looking for any time it comes back to here to potentially take a long entry. But it doesn't really do that. It just kind of comes back, breaks through. And this is actually where I take my fourth trade. And again, this is one of those trades that were a little bit, actually this one was slightly okay. So actually I saw this as a break of this yellow channel, the first break. I saw this as the first attempt up, pull back, and this is starting the second attempt up. So I like that it broke one tick below this red signal bar. So people that are thinking it's the first break of this green down channel might be looking for another push down to test the extreme, might have all gotten short here, but neglecting the fact that this yellow channel is much stronger on top of a very bullish day. If people went short there, they would have gotten trapped by one tick and then moved all the way back up. So I like that. And so I got my order ready. I entered to be a little more conservative, a little bit less, trying to squeeze out as much as I can to eventually just get out at the top. And that's exactly what happened. I wasn't sure I was going to break through this, so I entered so that I would make sure my scalp would ensure that I get it right at the matching top. It moves up and actually gives you a little bit more, and then now it moves and corrects back down. And so I'm just still sitting watching. Comes back down. I see a second entry long here. Technically is your new high. It's your first entry long. Pull back and creates your second entry long right here. Now, any one of these could have been the signal bar, but this one is probably the signal bar that you would have waited for. Also saw it made pretty much a measured move down. And so if you enter this, I don't know that I didn't like entering this, even though this is a good signal bar, because there's no other reason to enter it other than it had made a measured leg, 2 legs down, and it's a good signal bar. I needed another piece of key entry point to make me feel warm and fuzzy. On top of that, it made these 3 matching highs. If this green candle was replaced and placed right here, and then this candle followed. So if you just delete these 2 candles, it might have given it more reason to take that trade, but it looked like it was struggling before. And when you see this, it doesn't give you much confidence either, even though it closed close to the high. And so it moved up. That's when I saw this higher low confirmation. And I don't think this is a safe entry. This is one of the other 2 higher lows that I took that I didn't think was the best idea, because this is a higher low, but this is a terrible signal bar. Nevertheless, I entered, and as this was flashing around, it broke up and it was dancing around a little bit. I entered here just to ensure that if it moved 1 tick above, I'd get filled. Now that's actually pretty risky. If I was going to do that kind of strategy, I should have entered even lower just to make sure, because it made a double top, made potentially a triple top. There's some kind of resistance right across here. So I should have just skipped this trade altogether or entered it even lower. And if I didn't get filled, I would have not got filled. But to ask for it to push 1 tick above was a little dicey. Again, it worked out for me, but that's not the best trade, and it should have just been skipped. As you can see, if I were going for more, if I were even 1 tick above, I wouldn't have gotten filled and likely would have gotten stopped out. Prices then continue moving up. I noticed this gap, and then it kind of continues chopping. I saw this as a new high. So first entry long, pull back, second entry long, also a new low, first entry short, pull back. Now, depending on what happens here, it creates a failed second entry long, and it confirms the second entry short. But this is a bad signal bar for the second entry short. It's also above this EMA, which is kind of squiggly right now. And for the second entry long, it's not failure. It's not that great because it didn't fail decisively. It kind of looked like buyers came in and pushed it all the way back up. So this is definitely not the best setup, but it's just something I noticed. The prices continue chopping, moves up. It looks like it's within this orange channel now, which I drew. Kind of respects it. Has a small little overshoot, pushes down, first entry long, pulls back, creates a second entry long. Now, second entry long here creates a second entry long failure. What I thought about this is, okay, there's this orange channel which looked like it acted as support. There's also a potential green channel coming down, made 1 leg down, push up, maybe a second leg down. There's a small little overshoot, but is it strong enough to create a small little overshoot on this side? So to take a short felt risky, especially based upon the strength of this orange channel going up. So it felt like the orange channel has a higher probability of winning over than this green channel that may or may not be valid at this point. Turns out it does continue going down, but you don't know that in real time. So I'm okay with that trade or that non-trade. Then it kind of keeps moving and it gets pretty close to the end of the day. Kind of goes and chops into the close. So I saw the charts today. Total of 5 trades, 2 of them 4 winners, 1 loser. And in all honesty, of the 4 trades that won, this one was pretty iffy, the last one that I took, and as well as, let's see, I believe this third trade was iffy. So this is only the good trade, the second entry long, and this higher low, which was decent. But then all the other trades probably should have been skipped. So this is the higher low here. So that's pretty much how I saw it. Hopefully that was helpful.